do the introductions when we're done.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Introductions. On my far right is Deb Parsons, the representative from the school board committee. To my right is Doug McAllister. I'm Sharon Schilling, the chair. To my left is Joe Dame, the vice chair. And then to his left is Nan Bartlett. We are missing Linda, the town administrator, and Jake Bowie, who is the representative from the selectmen, due to an ambulance contract meeting that they needed to attend. So, but I'd also like to introduce, and you can't see him, but we have a new videographer. His name is Evan. Did I get that right? Okay, Evan. He's one of two new ones, and we are happy to have you, Evan. Thank you. All right. The five of us at the table do constitute a quorum, so we are good to go. The first thing on our list is approval of the September 11th minutes. You should have had a copy of them in the notes or in the documents that were sent.
I just saw a few minor things.
Yeah.
In the public comment section, the first paragraph, second to last line, I think hall should have a capital H for town hall.
Right.
I also put this in Google Docs with suggestions, so I could
Forward it to Linda
share
if we.
it back to,
right.
yeah, if we agree. And then where's my next one?
She does this at the school board
I
meetings
do,
too, so.
just,
I usually
Yeah.
do too.
I,
It is really bad when it's the zoning board minutes, because they're 20 pages long.
and you guys can tell me if I'm like, so the last paragraph on that page in the public comment, it said Dowd added that the energy production has met all projections and emphasized the need to start planning now. I think there is a comma that should go there. Asking about next steps, comma, whether they should approach the capital improvement program, so just that one comma.
Okay.
Then the next page, what's that say? Oh, apostrophe for selectmen's in the first,
On the last line, it's a possessive because it's their agenda.
and then I think in the school board update number 3, out of bounds, I just think there's another hyphen that goes after the of.
Okay, for the read out of, another hyphen where?
So there's one before the of, I think there also needs to be one after the of.
Mine has
Mine
one
has
after
one.
the of.
Yeah,
Mine?
It's a little weird because I think that whole out of bounds should be moved to the next line because it's a,
All
it's,
connected.
yeah, it's a kind
That's
of a
why I
widow
didn't
out
pick it
there.
up. That's it.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Okay, I will then accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Doug, second by Nan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I should say that out loud. Unanimous. All right, I will make sure that Linda gets a copy with these notes on it, or if you just want to send it to her,
Yeah,
And
I would do
info.
it right now, but I don't have
Nah.
internet access.
it can wait. She's not looking at it, she's at
Yeah.
going to the other meeting, so. Okay, next, public comment. We have no public in the room.
Oh dear.
Do we have anybody online
Online?
tonight? No, I'm just curious. One
One
person?
person.
Okay.
So far, still learning.
So far.
It's
That's
still-
true, it's only
that's
6
true.
and 5 after 6. I do want to, for the person who is watching, and anyone else who watches this after the fact, I do want to encourage this, and I think I'm gonna make a Facebook post about this. This is the time of year when all of your concerns regarding budget matters should come, talk to us, let us know what those concerns are and what those issues are and what you'd like to see happen. We don't wanna be doing this in a vacuum, with no public input. We would love to have public input so that we're making analytic decisions and, good decisions with regard to being good stewards of the townspeople's money. So, please, come to the meetings, come talk to us, or at least listen, if you have no input, at least listen to some of the concerns we have, or some of the questions we have, and, what those answers might be, so. And or join the board. Okay. Public, none. You'll have to forgive me, I'm doing double duty, Schilling.
That's okay.
Schilling. Seeking public support and presence for budget process / input. Okay. School board update, Deb?
Well, I can kind of piggyback on your kind of plea to the public in terms of, one of the messages I definitely got at the school board meeting was, they want input also to their budget in a timely fashion, because it often feels like they get to the end of the budget process and then there's a lot of things that people bring forward, like in that January meeting, so they'd like to kind of get ahead of the game and kind of have that be just a review of all the things that they've changed. But that was just a overall expression, because they are looking for guidance from this body. And I think I explained it in terms of we're kind of in this catch-22 where you kind of want to see what baseline budget might look like before, but I did emphasize that, looking to keep it level, if not less.
Right.
So there's a few things I can go through. I arranged because we talked a lot, so you probably have heard or seen in the papers that the health insurance that the school employees are a part of is requiring districts to make mid-year premium, they're not even premium payments, but shortfall
So shortfall
contributions.
payments.
And Madison's contribution came out to be 101,000. So that is an unexpected thing. So we got a couple of, because the numbers had just gone to the state, I believe, for what we can hold over. And the school board always, even though we're able to hold up to 5% of what's left over in terms of the budget, the school board has only ever done 2.5. So that's what we had originally went with, but then there were a couple of scenarios. Were we able to put that 100,000 on last year's budget? And then look at what we would keep for 2.5 after that, or do we take the 2.5%, which was $163,000, and just keep it that we're gonna take the 2.5% and take the 100,000 out of the 163, and we voted for the second.
So I'm not sure I completely followed, because bunch of numbers. So at the end of last year, there was how much left? 200 and something
Oh, the
thousand?
fund balance?
It's,
Yeah.
so I
There
have
was-
it right here, it was
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
$759,610.
$759,610, okay,
and
of which
63 cents.
2.5%, yes,
Yes, was proposed, we voted to,
to retain,
yes.
to hold over for the next year,
Yeah,
basically.
and those numbers went to the state, but in the meantime, school cares,
Right, but that 2.5% represents how much money? 75, that's about 163,000,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Okay, so that's the 163K, okay, which leaves you a little under $600,000 of that fund balance.
Right, so I can make a copy of this for you guys. So there were two ways that Heather showed this to us. So the 759.
Mhm.
So if you withhold the 100,
63.
it's 659. That is the new ending
Oh,
fund
oh,
balance
The 100 for
for the school care.
Okay, oh, so she's proposing to take it out of the complete overage before divvying the 2.5%.
I think it was
in.
before she found out that I don't think we can do
Do
it
that?
that way.
Okay,
Because of the way the school care shortfall runs. You can't say that it was a cost that was occurred last year
Mhm.
because it's just,
it's been a
It's
It's-
now.
growing issue.
yeah, over multiple, so we looked at that, but then the other thing they gave us was to do that, with the overage, so the 163, use 100 of that, that's what,
That's your 2.5% of the total fund balance.
yeah.
Right, the 163 is the 2.5, but then you would take 101 or whatever it is,
Right.
the 101 out of that 163, which would only leave you 62,000.
Right, and that's what we voted to do.
Mhm. Deb, is
Are you
that,
comfortable with having only 62,000 in that fund?
Yes, because our discussion was that we have 2 teachers in the budget right now
Mhm.
that we have not filled those positions,
okay,
and it doesn't look as though we are.
Mhm.
So even with just, there's also been a stop to spending at this time right now, so that it has to get approved through the SAU. So the superintendent has put kind of a hold
On spending?
on the budget for right now until we were all figuring out how
Oh,
this
because of this,
Mhm.
I was gonna say, is that for any other reason other than this school care
No,
reason?
just
Okay.
for this reason,
Okay,
and
in
so.
case you had to take it out of this year's budget.
Yep, and so I think we would have been a little bit more concerned if we didn't have those 2 positions that haven't been filled. But because of that, we feel like we do have room in the budget to deal with some other things that might come up.
Deb,
Yeah.
is that payment due in a lump sum payment this coming summer, or can you spread it over 2 years or
No, it's
something?
due in December.
It's
Due
due in
this
December,
year.
so the whole 100K lump sum payment is due.
Well, thank you very much, State of New Hampshire, to say it's
I was
due.
gonna say,
And
too
the
bad
other
you
thing we
couldn't move
learned
it
is that
across
insurance
years.
costs for next year with school care is up 16%.
Which, yeah, we
Um,
were seeing that across
So,
town as well.
in lieu of that, there is some discussion. Heather
This is
Sherwood,
Yeah.
who's the finance person from SAU 13, has looked into other health insurance companies. She did give us some preliminary ideas. There's also the plan that everyone at at Madison is on is a sunsetting plan, so it's not
Mhm.
available anymore. So there is an orange plan that's taking its place. I think there was pretty much a consensus of the board that we want to get away from school care, and I think a lot of districts are probably going to
Mhm.
do that. So she's already been looking into other companies and talking about, if we go to a higher deductible plan, it could be less in premiums for us as a district, as a town, for sure, but also for the employee, and then looking to do something with an overage for like the deductible. So we wouldn't be paying as much as what we've planned to pay. Like, we're thinking the premiums would go down if we went to another higher deductible plan. So the savings we would save as a town, we could use some of the savings, like in SAU 9, they fund an FSA, but I
Right.
think
HSA.
we're thinking more of an HSA, and putting that money in there to cover some of the deductibles, so it's not a bam, bam for the employee.
Yeah, that's how the town works.
But that also,
Wages.
if that language is changing language in the CBA, it has to be negotiated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we are looking into whether that needs to happen, and as a negotiator myself, I'll let you know as soon as I know whether we're gonna be opening, if we opened for negotiations, it would just be for the healthcare
Right.
part of the CBA.
When would the new plan start, in 2026? If Heather's successful or in the negotiations?
Yeah, it would
is
be July
successful?
1st.
July 1st,
Yeah.
okay.
Of 2026. So it has to open no matter what, right? Because that plan is sunsetting and you have to select a
You
new
need- yeah.
organization.
If we're changing language, we have to open up, but definitely that, like, the way it's worded is 88% is of the cost of healthcare is paid by the district and 12 by the employees. It doesn't name a specific plan, I don't believe, in the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
So if we went to another plan, it would still be those same percentages, but if you go to a plan where a deductible, where the benefits are much different, then that could be a sticking point, and the union does get a chance to have a voice in choosing a new
Mhm.
healthcare plan.
So I'm gonna presume that you folks, I'm sure you're not, Heather's doing this, I
Yes.
presume. She's putting together a spreadsheet of sorts to do a comparison that shows what the current plan and those premiums are, and what
Yes.
the split between employee and employer
Yeah.
looks like. And then when you add what'd you say, 16%
Increase the
increase,
school, yeah.
what does that look like
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
with the new plan? Because all of your potential savings might get eaten up in that increased
Right.
premium.
Right.
So in order to have actual numbers and actual facts and figures in front of you when this is discussed, I think it's gonna be very important to have those.
Yeah.
Those,
And she had already done a mock-up of staying with school care,
Right.
and what that looked like, going to the orange plan. But now she needs to do the next step of, if we're looking at a different insurance company, what that might look like, what savings it would bring or not.
Mhm.
And she had been doing that anyway,
Mhm.
even before this
yes,
assessment. She had been doing it because that was
Yeah.
a direction
Even in the summer,
voters
I knew
and
she
people
was.
had,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was looking, and we had talked last year
Mhm,
about
mhm.
when the opportunity presented itself to look for a different plan, or at
Yeah.
least look at different plans.
Right.
Every couple of years,
Right,
every organization should be looking at their plans, whether
Mhm.
you're a government agency or, a municipal government or, even a company. You should be looking at your plans. Hold your providers to task a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I do recognize that a 16% increase is, it's significant, it's not
Mhm.
nothing, so.
Yeah, and I mean, we were concerned in terms of the reasoning that Dr. Whalen shared with us, in that school care is giving for these huge amounts that districts are having to pay outside of premium years is a shortfall of 2 years, but they specifically named 13% increase in claims, and then an increase in prescription costs as the reason why there's this huge shortfall. And in my opinion, a 13% increase doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking health insurance claims, I guess it could be. So it just doesn't seem very transparent, I think a lot of us are feeling, in terms of why school care all of a sudden needs, I mean, Manchester's having to pay $1 million.
Well,
Millions,
Conway
yeah.
too was in the paper.
Well, Conway, we had, I
Yeah.
teach in
Oh,
SAU now, we had to go to a different,
Yeah.
it was more the trust, the New
Oh,
Hampshire.
that was the health trust, that's right,
Yeah,
so.
that failed, that we had to
Yeah.
do it last minute. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff going on, obviously, all
Healthcare.
over the world
All
with
over
Yes.
healthcare,
plans, yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. Another thing is that we looked at we've got 2 bids for transportation next year. One significantly lower than the other. So there is a possible depending on what company we ultimately decide to go with, there could be a good amount of savings in that area as well.
For the same, has anyone done the, again, you know, Joe and I are all about analysis. Looking at it, are we getting apples and apples in those two different contracts?
Yeah, and one contract is with a company that is already, has been used for many years in the same SAU office, in the same SAU district,
Right,
just in a different school, so it's not an unknown provider.
right.
But we haven't accepted those bid, a specific bid yet, so.
Do we know when that will happen?
I'm assuming the next meeting. I think there were just a few other things that Heather need to shore up to make sure, in the contract that, or what she interprets them to be. So I think we'll be making a decision next month.
And that's the November, what, like 5th or something like that? I think it is.
4th?
November.
3rd.
3rd. Okay,
And then we did have our first rendering of the budget, the default budget for 26, 27. And I did receive an email after we said this, and Heather believes that she double counted a few of the teachers that do like art, PE. She believes she accidentally put them in 2 sections, so.
so it's high, the paper is higher than what it really should be, it's
That's-
reflecting higher?
That's the impression
thought
that I
they had a
got.
copy of it. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, she sent a second budget, right? Yeah.
So,
Can you ask her to do me a really big favor? Because we now have 2 of these, but I don't know
Oh, I
which
see.
one is which.
does it have a
They don't have it,
revised?
doesn't look like it has a date on the bottom that says, you know, as of or something, so.
Cause
This
mine
is-
has a 10-6. And it looks like yours on the left, maybe.
Where's the 10-6?
You don't have it printed at the bottom, no?
I
Yeah,
dated
can-
mine when I got it and I wrote okay, so I don't know if you want the okay one.
Oh,
Not
no,
the
if you're telling me
original.
if this one I don't need to even look at, because it's the old one, and
Yeah, I
this
never
one is
got,
the-
I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna get the updated one. I
Yeah.
think she must have
She
given you
emailed
guys
it,
one because
yeah.
of the
Yeah,
meeting
she
here,
did, and I
but-
looked at the old one and I just sort of, I didn't throw it out, but I just marked it as
Not okay.
right. And I don't know if this, how, that's the one that's okay. If you look at, she had yellowed, I went through it and yellowed, the yellows, a lot of the yellows are mine. I have a lot
Okay,
of
so it's this one that's okay, is the okay version.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so this one, not okay. You have to forgive me, I have had my phone plugged in to my computer for the last 3 days, trying to offload 10,000 pictures.
Ouch.
The problem if you use an iPhone, just just an aside really quick, if you use an iPhone and you change your aspect ratio from 4:3 to 16:9, the iPhone actually captures 2 images, one at 4:3 and one at 16:9.
Oh dear.
So while your phone says it has 9,000 pictures, it has
You really-
15,000
Wow.
pictures.
I noticed in the minutes when I was reading them that you had asked me about the CIP for this meeting, and I
Yeah.
forgot to do that, so
Okay,
we
no
did
worries.
not get that.
So I'll hopefully, and hope Joe or anybody else goes with me, we'll go to the school
To the
board
third,
meeting and
okay.
see if we can get a
I'm
copy
still,
then.
I'm writing myself a note
Yeah, and
too,
then,
but-
you know, I mean, obviously, the biggest thing is there anything in that CIP so that there's no like,
Big,
uh-oh,
yeah.
where'd that come from kind of thing?
Mm-hmm,
And then what the plan is for the next minimum 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
obviously. We're gonna be looking at, we'll look real hard at this next coming year,
mm-hmm.
but then the subsequent couple years to see where we think the larger expenditures are gonna be.
Yep.
And I'll talk about the CIP in general when we get down to item number 7.
So the only other thing that I feel like,
Oh, let me give that back to me.
I want the
Thanks.
budget committee here to be aware of as we go through more of this process is the fact that there was a promise, I would call it, last year, that there would be a reduction in a teacher due to numbers. There's a large 6th grade group going out.
Yep.
And I think they said 7 preschoolers that would be
Right.
coming into, that we know of right now, that would be coming in. So that 28 going out and 7 coming in, that's a significant drop.
Starting at 102.
Right, so it would be
you
down
don't-
below 100
Yeah.
students potentially.
Wow.
I know,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at, yeah.
So,
And so I just want the board here, the advisory board, to be aware of that there was this promise to cut a teacher. We've not been able to fill 2 positions
For this year,
for this year. So it will, I'm just afraid that it can be misconstrued, so I want you to understand that if we talk about cutting a teacher, in the budget, the proposed budget, Heather did say she kept one of the positions in
Empty.
in it
okay,
and one out of it.
okay.
And that does satisfy their promise of cutting a position, but those 2 positions are not there right now.
Well, they're there, the positions are there,
They're just not being filled.
Right,
So-
so from a budget perspective, there's no expenditures against them.
Right, but
Yeah.
also from a budgetary perspective, it's not gonna seem like the budget is going down unless that money's being used
right,
somewhere else, you know what I mean? Like, at the end, we're gonna have possibly an overage because we have not had to expend. So it's often been said, like, we cut it this year, we didn't cut it this year,
It's just
we
not
just couldn't fund it.
Yeah, it's an empty position.
Yeah, and
So
fill it.
I think that it's important for Jim to be very specific about that when he's talking about, once this budget gets a little more fleshed out, that there are currently 12 teacher positions, only 10 of them are filled. In next year, there will only be 11 teacher positions, there'll be 11 teacher positions, one of which is currently not filled.
Right, so it's not gonna be an increase in a position,
Right.
it's actually,
You still have to budget
it's gonna be
for-
down a position,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
we
And
didn't fill 2 of them this year, yeah.
Right, but you still have to budget for them.
Right,
And you have to budget for them as if, and what the town does is, especially when it comes to healthcare, you have to budget for them as if they might have a family that uses the
right,
plan.
right.
Yeah,
Because
worst
that's
case,
your largest exposure.
largest expense.
Right.
Yeah, so,
And I don't know, Deb, are you done? I was just, because I did go to that meeting and I just had a little
I think
to
I
add.
am, if I think of anything else, you can.
Okay, no, just that when Dr. Whalen presented the budget, the working, he said, keep in mind, we'll be looking at staffing, health insurance, special education, transportation, and then he mentioned the tuition/contract, because that number is like the same in this budget as last year. But those are the areas, so this is a work in progress, I think is what he was
Oh, yeah.
trying to say, and, because if you drop that many kids, and again, I'll have my say with the school board, but if you drop that number, you don't need 7 paraprofessionals, and this potentially you don't need,
maybe,
this.
it depends on,
Exactly.
your kids,
Exactly.
what your kids need.
Correct.
And I get that from a special education standpoint,
Right.
that budget is much more difficult to predict than
Correct.
the regular budget.
Right.
The question I would have is, as we get below 100 students, is there any initiative by the school to take a look at what point does it become infeasible to continue to operate an entire school? Is there, I'm not saying shut the school down, what I'm saying is maybe there's portions of the school that we could not necessarily use and lease it out for other purposes or whatever, as long as you can lock doors and do those kinds of things. I don't know, but at some point, there has to be some sort of a feasibility
Yeah,
study
start
that looks at.
sharing,
Mhm.
Yeah,
sharing with,
right.
possibly Freedom, who's under,
Right.
60 kids or whatever.
So yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that,
Yeah.
so.
I think they,
Yeah, if you could,
We have done a walk through the building, so in terms of trying to catch things that maybe are looking like they're in need of repair or replacement at some point, so a little bit of CIP work there, and just kind of going through the interior and knowing how many spaces there are that aren't being
fully
used by
being fully used.
classrooms
Right,
of students, there's a lot.
right, so the question is where consolidation could potentially
Mhm.
happen to.
Yeah, and that would
I mean, it's
definitely
not
be a
something anybody,
discussion, yeah.
it's not, and it's not a single day's discussion, it's,
Mm-mm.
a couple months worth of probably looking at it and analyzing it and running numbers to see what makes the most sense. At some point, you still have some cost, sunk costs, if you will, the cost of electricity, the cost to
Mhm.
operate the building, those kinds of things. Whether you have 5 kids in that building or 155, you still need a janitor kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but putting that down and trying to start to look at that to see what happens, so that we're not, as a town, when we get to 55 students or 60 students like Freedom, we're not all of a sudden sitting there going, holy cow, now what do we do? We already have something that's sitting on the shelf that says, we've looked at this, we have to dust it off and update it, but we've.
Right, and are there projections right now, 5 years out?
I was
Is
gonna
the
say,
population projected to
Yeah,
go
what are
up,
the
should
trends,
down,
yeah,
or-
what does it look like for
Yeah.
the next
There
5
should be,
years?
I know that I used to do that as the assistant to the principal for Kennett Middle, is looking at those 5-year projections to see
We
where
always
kids were
used
coming.
to also, like
Yeah.
I just remember as a
Mhm.
teacher, those being done
Mhm.
continually
Yeah.
as a way to plan for the
Ahead.
future. Cause we had a big bubble at one time,
Yeah.
population
Yes.
boom.
Right,
And the idea is if that continued in that trend, we needed more space. And now it's just
the other way.
Continue.
Seems the
Down,
other
down,
way,
and
the
down, and
population's aging and,
Okay, I gotta catch up on this, one last
Okay.
position. This one that is not filled. I will probably need your help, I'll send you the minutes for this part so that you can fill in the scrappy little notes that I took.
Yep, and I would also say too, like, I did also mention to them about, it had been brought up in the last budget process, but I know this body, mentioned it again too, in terms of trying to make the portion contribution of, employees the same across the board, whether
Yes.
they're, collective bargaining or not.
Right.
I did bring that to the board as well, so I do want you to know I passed that along.
And was there any reaction to that or any,
I think they heard it, but again, Dr. Whalen said they're very much in the process of looking at all those different things that Nan mentioned.
Mhm.
And so I think we're gonna come with a lot more nitty gritties this next
I
month.
do have a lot of questions for them.
So,
well, here's the other thing that we could potentially do is if you have questions, instead of grilling poor Deb, maybe she
Oh,
could-
no,
no,
this
but-
would be for the board, cause I
For the
mean,
school
I
board.
wrote,
We might be able
Yes.
to, if we can type them up, give
Yeah.
them to Deb so that when she goes to the school
Right.
board, since she's our liaison, she can present them. We can
Okay.
still go, and
Yeah.
if there's clarification, she goes, I don't even remember what Nan was talking about when
Yeah.
she wrote this.
well,
Then we're there to help with that discussion.
okay,
Okay.
alright,
But unless you're not comfortable doing that.
no,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
no, she's good, yeah.
Yeah, but then that way she's got them kind of ahead of time,
Yeah.
we can look
I
at
just
them.
thought they were more specific to the school board, not necessarily the budget committee. There were just questions going through and some of the stuff that increased, the decreases, why this, why instead of that? Because all your non-CBAs have dental insurance in this budget. there's a line item for dental insurance, but none of your teachers do, none of your collective bargaining staff. So, and if you will, if you're a non-CBA, they traditionally will go along with what the CBA for health insurance. If they get a 3% raise, you know, we'll go 3% for our non-CBA. So they sort of mirror your CBA and everything. But now, you know, when I looked through it, I said, okay, so there's 4 of them that, you know, 4 positions that all a line item with dental, but none of your employees do. So why are we paying, you know, why is that in the budget, and why don't you budget for your employees? So,
Well, I think
You
that's
know, that
perfectly
is
still
very
a budget question to ask. There's a number here that appears to be either missing or not updated, but where is the number for the non-CBA dental? Because they have dental, I mean, they have dental. Somebody, they're not going to the dentist.
well, yes, but I can just remember, and this is very old school and a long time ago, you got X amount of dollars, you can use it for your health insurance and all your premiums and do whatever. And so they offered health and they offered dental. I always paid for my dental. I paid 100% of my dental because there wasn't, I used the other to pay for my health insurance, my portion of the 10, 11, 12%, whatever they are now. So that's what I'm saying, I don't
know that it still works that way.
I
Well-
would have to check the collective bargaining
Right.
agreement, there's been a couple
Right.
since I negotiated, so.
Right.
But
Right.
that was always how it worked, was if we wanted dental, we always paid our own dental.
Correct.
Which is a couple $1,000s, broken over
26 weeks.
26 pay periods.
Right.
So it
Right.
wasn't a huge amount, but dental was always paid for
Right.
by the employee in the past. So I can, if I had internet, I could check it right now for you, but
You should be able to get.
is there,
There's
Wi-Fi
a
in here?
unsecure Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Public Wi-Fi.
because I know exactly where to look it up.
And I could, you know, and as I go through, it's significant, the health insurance. And, you know, and the other question I had, they're paying 12%?
Yes, or will be,
Will
Will
be,
Right. They're only
based on
11%
this
this
26,
year.
27.
right.
And I don't mean to, but a different position, so I'm assuming the family plan, you know, I can look and because I know the personnel in there, I know they're taking a family, I know that's a family, I know that's a 2, you know, sort of thing. But the increase for one of the positions is not the same as the other, they're both family plans. But why is the,
I think that there is a difference as to whether it's they're family plans, but it can be just a spouse, or it can be a spouse and children, and so there's
Yeah.
really 3 different plans.
You have
So the family plan is more than just one,
okay,
yeah,
it's
it's
single, self plus one,
right.
then
self
family.
plus
Correct.
one.
Family, yeah.
But what I'm just, well, it's the principles, it's X amount of dollars of the 12%, but, and I have it in here, it's like 50, whatever, I can find it. Because just say, for example, this is using the speech, and that health insurance is 45,000 in 011. And then you jump to the health insurance for the principal.
Okay, so I don't have any idea what lines you're looking
I
at.
know, well, I don't even have the
Oh,
pages
here we go.
numbered.
Notes, yeah, we had asked if Heather could line number these.
Right,
2, 3, 4.
And so-
Put the line numbers on the left-hand column so that it's,
Everybody did that.
so that it's easier to say, I'm looking at line number 12.
right. So the principal's, health insurance costs $51,149. Now, it's a family to family. Why is there a difference?
Well, remember that the principal was not currently paying any of the premium.
Yeah,
That's what
so
I
it
think it
doesn't.
is, that's what it, yeah.
Will hopefully come 26, 27, that will change.
Yeah, that's, I
Because
think that's
one
where
of
the difference is.
That was one of the big issues with regard to,
But I guess my point, I'm saying the plan itself should have the same number, 45, right?
It depends on whether the individual, the health insurance for the speech person is a member and spouse.
Right.
Versus member and family. If member and family, say the principal is member and family, but the speech person
Right.
is only member and spouse, they're gonna be
Yeah.
different amounts.
Okay. Well, that's a question for them. That's one of my questions for them is why, because to me it looks like the family plan for one is higher than all your other. And you can't differentiate the teachers because you don't know, but you can go to your school nurse, you can go to your guidance counselor, you can go to your media specialist and just look and, forget names or whatever, but you can look at their plan and say, okay, well, they have a family plan, and it's 45, so then you jump up, why is
Well,
that?
it should
What
be.
we need from Heather is
Right,
as opposed to looking at individual positions as, this is what it is for a single member.
Right.
This is what it is for a
Right.
member plus spouse or partner. This is, or one, like child,
Right.
one child. This is what it is for member, spouse, and child or children. Okay, so that you have the three
correct.
different
So you
amounts
can
Right.
compare to what's in the budget.
in the budget, right?
Okay.
I mean,
I was writing
yeah.
this down in my notes. I think, Nan, I don't know for sure, but off the top of my head, my guess would be is the dental part. So if that isn't spliced out in a separate section,
It is.
It is?
For the principal, but nobody, like I said, there's 4 non-CBAs, and they each, when you come down, you have health insurance, so it's dental insurance principal, dental insurance administrative assistant, and then you go down to custodian, it's only the head custodian that you have a dental under.
okay, then I would, I'm
You know,
just
so
gonna
I
not
guess my question, I mean, it's a line item and it may, health insurance, let me find the dental, $595, which,
yeah.
but where's the dental insurance for your non-CBA, for your CBA people?
It's probably built into the,
Health,
It may-
that premium.
I don't know.
It may be
I don't-
rolled in, I'm not sure.
I-
But if they're not paying for it, if they chose like you did to put everything into your health and they're buying the dental insurance themselves, it would not be on here.
Yeah,
It would not be on
Yeah.
here.
and maybe,
that's something for Deb to
Right.
follow up on and just ask for a breakdown of,
Well,
The
and then
rates
just to
and
make
things,
sure
yeah.
that is dental covered within the health insurance, or is it a separate line item? And
correct,
if we don't see a line item for any specific positions,
right,
are we sure that's not a cost to the
Right.
town, it's a
Right.
cost to the individual?
right,
So I have the CBA here, cause the question was in terms of dental for non-CBA'd. So this is Article 12, Section C, says the Madison School District will pay 88% of a single two-person or family membership in a consumer-driven health plan during the 3 years of this agreement. The consumer-driven health plan is designed to avoid or minimize the Affordable Care Act excise tax if at any point the Madison School District provided healthcare plan exceeds that, so that's just the ACA. It doesn't say anything about dental, it just says health. So I do still believe they pay their own dental. In terms of CBA
For the
members.
But it
CBA
look-
members.
it looks like here, the district pays for non-CBA's dental.
They may be,
Okay.
and then that again goes back to the question of standardization and equality,
Right,
equity
right.
between.
Well, I would just hope the other employees got the same benefit, that's all, or-
They probably don't,
okay,
but that doesn't mean that that's the way it's gonna stay, I mean,
Right.
right,
we've
right,
asked for that equity to happen,
right,
and we'll see what comes up.
okay,
Right,
Yeah.
yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
Anything else for Deb? Okay, then moving on to the selectmen's update. Obviously Jake is not here, he did send a small paragraph.
You can use
Here it
mine.
is, I got it. Too much paper. Okay, two things that have come up, he's saying, as of today, not much has, as far as budget items discussed, as we are still waiting for key items. Two things that have come up are as follows. Joe Dame requested an increase to the budget line for the food pantry in the amount of $500. The board decided to grant, I think it's supposed to be an increase, of $1,000 based on the numbers Joe had presented to the board at the last meeting. Looking at numbers of families helped and increase in costs for general food items, we agreed that the $1,000 increase would be appropriate. And then item number 2, employee contributions to health insurance. The board decided an increase to 8.5% from 7% for all current employees. Any new employees hired will be set at 10%. We are also willing to look at this again next budget season for a further increase for current employees. At this point, this is all I have to report, hoping to have more information at our next meeting as we move forward. As of now, we aren't sure of the impact on the budget as we are still awaiting numbers. Congratulations, Joe, very good. I think that's a well-deserved increase with everything that you guys have been doing, so. But item number 2 concerns me a little. And I feel bad. Linda's not here to be able to answer any of the questions, so I don't know that we can get into any real specifics. But the biggest concern I have is that we had asked last year and then reiterated again this year that based on the statewide average, we believe that it was appropriate to increase last year from 5, we wanted 5 to 8%, they went with 7%. This year, and John Arruda, who was a selectman at the time, sitting on that board, said, we'll look at going from 7 to 10% next year. I get that he's no longer on the board, so it's easy to say, well, that was what John Arruda said, and that doesn't hold anymore. And things change. However, it's my understanding, we have been asking for numbers, healthcare numbers, for at least 2 months, if not more. Probably since the summer, we at least mentioned it, saying, can you please provide those numbers? That I'm aware of, we had yet to get them until today. Yet the board, at its September 30th meeting, chose to vote on a percentage increase with what looks like no significant analysis. Yes, I'm not gonna say there's no analysis. Linda did a spreadsheet. Again, you should have a copy of it. I forwarded it to you all, except for Doug. My apologies. But
Yeah, I know.
But that, we had asked for them so that Joe could do the analysis that he did last year to show what would the cost of keeping the same plan, what would that look like? What is the projected increase? We were using 8.5%
As a maximum, based on, at the time, the market data.
Right,
Yeah.
but we're probably looking more at 14 to 16%, as you were saying, Deb.
Yeah.
So running those numbers and getting a real look, I feel that that perhaps the selectmen were a bit premature in taking a vote on that. So I'm gonna ask Linda to put me on the agenda and go back and look at some revisiting based on the information that she sent. I would encourage any of you, I'm asking for the next select board meeting, so I would encourage any of you who want to attend to come to that meeting as well. I just think it was, again, a little premature. It was early, it was September, it could wait until the beginning of November when this committee had a chance to weigh in. For all I know, I don't know what we would have decided. There's a chance we would have said no, 8.5% because of the cost, because of the premium cost increase. That's good. Or no, we still want to recommend 10%. We weren't given that opportunity, so I want that opportunity to be able to look at that and go back to them and say, I know that you voted, can you vacate that vote if we look and come up with something different?
I did look at current health rates, and I started doing this a couple of years ago. We were
Yeah.
trying to get a handle on this. And as Sharon, we discussed, my cost estimate was well below. When we did that number last year, we were looking at about 8 to 8.5% increase a year. That's how we based our, 5-year
Projections.
projections out. The last 2 years, we've seen double-digit increases. The numbers, preliminary numbers Linda gave me today, I had asked Linda for the numbers, and the town overall health insurance is going up 14.7%. Dental increased by 4.4, that's reasonable, that's with inflation. But outside of Madison, the federal government employee plan is going up 12.3% this year, postal service 11.3%. What I think is important to us here in Madison is we have a lot of seniors, retirees living on Social Security here. And, I'm seeing more come to the pantry because everything's so expensive. But for 2026, the Medicare Part B premium, which is, Part A is free, Part B you pay for, is increasing 11.6% from about $185 a month this year to about $206.50 next
I thought it
per
was
month.
236.
I have $206.50 per month. The deductible is going up by 12% from $257 to $288. So we're seeing again double-digit inflation each year, and I also looked up kind of what the anticipated Social Security COLA would be this year. Again, it's not finalized because the government's closed. They're waiting for the October, November data, but it looks like it's going to be about 2.7%. So our retirees will be getting about 2.73% increase. But, again, we're looking at their, Medicare premiums going up, almost 12%. So
So they're gonna lose ground by about 10%.
yeah, and, this is, employers need to prepare for the highest health benefit cost increase in 15 years, which Deb saw with the school insurance increase as well. Again,
To me, it just makes sense to do a little more due diligence on this, take a look at it and look at what the full implication is and what that implication to our seniors and other townspeople, actually what it really looks like, and see.
the numbers Linda sent me today, the cost next year for the health plan for a single is $11,688. Two-person plan is $23,377, and a family plan is $31,559.
The school should look at what.
So
I was
that's,
gonna say maybe the school
and this
needs
is,
that.
I can't remember the exact name, the planned, I should have looked it up before the meeting. But again, it's equivalent to, I think it's a Blue Cross,
Yeah.
Aetna plan or something. It's a very good plan. But the selectmen did discuss and I guess approve an 8.5% increase. So that the cost for a single pay 26 pay period deduction would be $38.21 per single. A two-person plan would be $73.43. A family plan would be $103.18. That would be the employee contribution per pay period. But our total cost to the town after the employee contributions for 2026 is projected to be $291K, which is up from $283K. So we're looking at not $9,000, and currently next year we'd have 12 employees on the plan. So no, Linda did some. She put a spreadsheet together here, a little analysis for us. At least we have something.
Right.
But,
Well, according to CBS News I'm looking at right now, workers are likely to pay between 6 to 7% more for 2026 employee-sponsored health insurance.
So 6 to 7% more.
more.
Yeah, is it, yeah.
Yeah, that, I have the data on the average increase, I think, across government, private industry, that type of thing. Yeah, the total employee cost is expected to rise 6.5%. Highest increase since 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, costs are going up. And again, they're saying here, as Deb had mentioned, what is it? It's a rate of utilization and plus the cost of the prescription drugs now
Pharmacy.
have gone way up. So, and again, it's just driving the cost up, the labor rates, the prescription costs, and the utilization rates. You saw that, the claims were up 13% or
13
something,
point
right?
something, yeah.
So, anyway, I guess my only
Anyway,
point
yeah.
is that this is well and good, but I'm not sure that it does all of the analysis that we should look at. It doesn't actually take a look at what would it be, what would that difference be? You're talking another 1.5%. So having an 8.5% employee contribution and showing what the 10% employee contribution would be, so that like I said, an actual, and what is their current contribution, so that, when you're looking at numbers and you're looking at the impact on an individual's paycheck.
For the next meeting, I'll try to update my little chart I had from last year.
Yes.
And I had broken it down by 7, 8, 9, 10%, whatever the different contributions were.
Right,
So you could compare and go, okay, say we go from 8.5% to 10, the impact on the employee would be, this much per pay period. All right, so we can see what the real number is.
right. And I do think that when you have the people across the parking lot paying 12% of their employee, for their employee health care, and
It doesn't include dental.
it doesn't
Doesn't,
include
yeah.
dental, and yet here it's 8.5%. That standardization and that equity that we talked about, I'm looking for across the board. Yeah, not just isolated to a single building or some, I think it's important. I think it's important to have skin in the game, and I think it's important to have people understand that we're all in this together.
I'll update the chart as well. Last year I did a 5-year projection, just where we're gonna be in, 2030. And again, it was based on a much lower inflation rate, 6, 8%, I forget the exact number. But if we're gonna see these double-digit increases, we're gonna have
Yeah.
exponential growth here pretty quick, in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Right. All right, anything else on that? Nope, okay. That was under the selectmen's update. Number 7 is a CIP. Okay, so Deb, you had indicated that you'll have the school CIP for the,
Yes, I put it in my notes
okay.
on my phone.
So the committee, the Capital Improvement Committee met mid-last month, I think it was. I think there's a sheet in here. Yeah, the CIP and flat budget that was reviewed last night are attached. The flat budget is basically the default budget unless future board decisions necessitate changes. A few highlights are listed below. So one of the things that we did was we took a look at the CIP and said, the first thing that hasn't been agreed upon is what actually goes into the CIP? What does that look like? We did get some input after the fact from, because George Epstein watched the meeting online, and he recommended also, besides the metrics we were looking at the generally accepted accounting procedures, which indicates that anything that you buy that's not really a disposable, anything that has to have any kind of monetary outlay and has a replacement cost to it going forward, should be in the CIP. We looked at the monetary level of $5,000, and or anything that is new equipment, new, because there are things that are less than $5,000, like I don't know, if it were new tables or something, then while that's not necessarily considered a capital outlay if you're buying a single table, if you're re-outfitting the conference room, that's gonna be a capital improvement piece. And that should be on the capital improvement plan and planned for. The idea is to get as much of this stuff on the capital improvement plan as possible where it makes sense, in order that we can predict what those capital outlays per year are going to be. We have a lot of work to still do on this. There are things that are on here that we're not necessarily, like, we don't know that they're the correct numbers, we don't know that it's been completely updated. So we sent this back to Linda and said, okay, and we re-wickered the format a little bit to hopefully have it make more sense. But we had it, we asked for it to be sent to the department heads because originally all of this stuff came through Linda, but then we got told now that we have our own committee, it doesn't come through Linda anymore, it goes directly from us to the selectmen. So Tia Gagnon, who's the chairman of the committee, was sending it out to all of the department heads for them to update it, as well as she created this capital improvement cost analysis sheet. This is a worksheet for each of the department heads to use and take a look at it and see if you're gonna buy, and I'm gonna pick on the police department, if you wanna buy a new car, what does that look like in each one of these blocks, so that we can get a full cost for something, because there are times when the cost of the car is $50,000, but then there's another 17 to 19 to outfit it. So making sure that all of those costs are captured and planned for over the term is important.
And I think to go along with this sheet, there should be a instruction sheet. Here's what you put in, here's what you have to think. Because as we said, well, George wants everything that you're gonna spend money on to be in there. Well, that's not the common sense view. The common sense is, I'm gonna put anything in here that I'm gonna depreciate. So a table, well, how long am I gonna keep this table? I don't
20
know.
years.
The fire truck, yeah, we know it's gonna last 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
So we know that, so I think putting a cheat sheet in along with this to explain to the department heads, here's what you actually need to put on this sheet, is a valuable tool.
Yeah, and what I think I would really like to see is the ability to sit down with those department heads, have them come to either a meeting or we sit down with them one-on-one. The committee is Tia, who's the planning board person, me from the ABC, and Joy Gray from the selectmen. So Joy and I have been working on this thing for over a year. Tia had one that she was working on and then decided this one was more robust, so we were gonna go with this one and modify it. But I think that between the three of us, we're well enough versed in what we're looking for in this, that we could sit down one-on-one with each one of the department heads and explain to them what this sheet means and what we're looking for, and give them examples of the kinds of things that need to be in here. Again, this also is designed to account for offsets, like if we're gonna get a new fire truck, but that fire truck, we're applying for a grant to cover 80% of the cost. Well, that offset should be in this working sheet, so that the town is aware that, should we get the grant, we're not paying $350,000 or whatever it is for another expensive, $350,000 for a fire truck, we're only gonna pay 80% of that. But we have to get that grant first, and then, but what happens if we don't get the grant? You've at least accounted for the $350,000.
You have to plan for the worst case scenario.
And hope for the best, right?
Yes.
Write for the best when you're doing grants. So we'll see. Our next meeting is November. I think it's November. It's not. It might be Veterans Day, November 11th. I can't remember, but it's in the library. If anybody is interested in no, the 6th. Sorry, the CIP meeting is November 6th in the library at 9:30 because they're using this meeting room. Please come. And
I have a question for you, Sharon, about, it would be CIP related, the joint board, so SAU 13 joint board, had a presentation by a company where they come in and, we're looking at this as a whole SAU, but they come in and they kinda go through your facilities and things, and they They come up with, because they do this all the time, they can look at your roof, your boiler, your whatever, and know the replacement period for when that has to happen, so that you can be planning out 10, 15, 20 years ahead of time for these bigger replacement costs. And I just wanna throw it out there that they're looking into this company. We haven't decided to go with the company yet, but you have to have so many square footage of
Space.
facility
Yeah.
for them for it to be worthwhile. So we would have to do it as
A
all
full
three
district.
all three districts for it to work. But I just thought I'd throw it out there in case there was an opportunity where the town could maybe also, you know, if there's some cost sharing that could happen, and whether that would help out with that whole CIP process or not. This was just new to me, but it sounds
Yeah.
very interesting because they can plan
Well-
everything out.
Yeah, you presume that they're experts in this and
Mhm.
do these all the time.
They
so-
come and they spend a whole day and they go through everything and look at all your things, and then they go back.
As you get more information, would you ask your CIP committee to share it with us so that
Sure.
that then if it looks like something that is reasonable and would benefit, that we can then take it to the Board of Selectmen to get them to, because that's where we would need to go with it.
Cause
is
I
the
was just
Board of
thinking
Selectmen.
if maybe 2 out of the 3 schools wanna do it and the third doesn't, that kinda puts us in a lurch, but if the
The
town
town said,
could
between
want-
DPW, transfer station.
and wanted to
you know,
join, that
library here.
maybe that would be enough
Right,
for us all to be able to do it, so
Or- and
I
even
just
if-
thought of it now as you were talking, so.
oh, and I
think
was gonna say, and even if all of the schools want to do it, if we added us to
another one, it may,
what does that look like?
yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's not gonna be anybody who can make a decision on that unless they have some information with concrete numbers.
Yeah, I'm trying to
and stuff.
remember the name of it starts with an A.
Starts with an A.
Yeah, that's my go-to, it's, I know the first letter, but that's what it is.
Right. Facilities and equip.
It's like them doing the CIP.
Yes,
When
sort
you
of.
go to the next CIP meeting,
Yes, sir.
think about, I had a discussion with Joy about refurbing the second floor. And I'd like to see that on the CIP. Is it,
Start to fill out, ask for a,
Fill out the form,
yeah,
fill out Form A.
fill out Form A, to at least start it with what you know. You're not gonna know a lot of the stuff, but you'll at least, yeah, well, you'll at least know, description of the project.
yeah, because we got into that discussion because of the fact that Mad TV needs new facilities.
Need space.
And we've turned down the library as an alternative. The newest alternative is if we do the second floor here, this would make a perfect place, half this room,
And this room would get located to the second floor.
yeah.
The conference space would then be up on the second
Yeah.
floor.
I think
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
This is probably easier converting this than
Oh, yes.
the third
And
floor.
have you been upstairs to the second floor?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a place. It's filled with record equipment right now.
Yeah.
I bet, yeah.
Anyway, so,
So, yeah, I mean, I can make sure that you get one, but at least you can have the
Put the titles,
description and the
yeah.
title so that it's on somebody's desk.
yeah,
And, maybe if Joy wants to take that up as a selectman and
Yeah.
figure out that. I don't know if that's a town administrator function because it's in this building,
Yeah.
or whether it's a DPW function
No, no,
because
it
it's a
was-
facility. You
it
might
was
have
just-
to,
just it was an off-the-cuff discussion I
Suggestion,
had, and I,
right.
oh, well, if we don't do something about it to start it, it's never gonna get done.
Mm-hmm.
okay, I will, done. Improvement to second
I said, oh,
floor.
the school might have space.
I was gonna say, the
There you
school
go.
probably has plenty of space.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm not offering it, but I'm
No,
just
no,
Stating a
but-
fact.
We've been down that road already.
Yeah.
Oh, you have, okay. Kinda stingy with the space.
Okay, moving on.
Best do that.
Anything, oh, so, yeah, like I said, the next meeting is on the, the department heads have a deadline of October 30th to send us back their update to this. And also if they have any of the forms, the templates that they wanna attempt to fill out. We don't expect that this is gonna be a finished, complete project on the 30th of the month, but at least we'll get something so that we can continue to talk and have an idea when it comes to these bottom numbers, which are currently blank, as to what it is we're looking at.
Sharon, could you give me the date of the next CIP? What was
November,
that?
it's a Thursday,
11?
November 6th,
6.
at 9:30 a.m. in the library.
And how about the selectmen meeting?
That was today, wasn't it? So it'll be 2 weeks
Yeah,
from
you,
today.
you're gonna be
Was
there
it
though,
today? No, was it today?
the
No,
budget,
no, it was last week,
Oh, okay.
so
so
it's
it'll
the,
be
Next week,
next week,
next Tuesday, the week from today,
okay.
yeah, October
28th.
28th. Today's the 21st,
Yeah, 28th,
28th.
Okay,
it's the 14th and the 28th.
and that's like
right?
4:30 or something, right? I'll look it up.
4:30.
Thank you.
Although I believe the next selectmen's meeting on the 28th is gonna start at 4 o'clock because there is a
Meeting later in the
yeah,
day.
that's at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
The rec path is at 4 o'clock and then the selectmen's at 4:30.
Selectmen's at 4:30.
Yeah.
Okay. The rec path meeting is here.
Yeah.
BOS, 4:30. All right, told them to go. All right, the drawdown. I know we haven't had a huge amount of time to take a look at all of this. And I know Linda's not here to actually,
Refute the
answer any
numbers.
questions.
Refute the numbers.
Refute the numbers. So I think if there's anything, let's take a look at it. We are, what percentage of the year through are we? If you go to,
80%?
like, yeah, somewhere close to 80%. If I, I always just take a quick look and see,
Look at 3-digit numbers there both.
yeah. So we're at 77% of the budget expended, and we're at about probably 77 to 80% of the year, probably closer to 80% of the year. At the end of this month, I would think.
Medical
So-
HRA, 200%. Rec department, transportation, 222%.
The rec department transportation, is that what you're saying?
Yep, 222%.
I'm not as concerned about that because that is one of those reimbursable accounts. So that's probably, I believe, it was not quite 220% last time, but I believe that when she talked about it, it was the cost of transporting. There were more kids that were going to the field trips, and that field trip money is sitting in the account and probably has yet to be put back in. So that's one of those reimbursable accounts,
And
and
of course, the worst one in the whole thing is the ZBA,
that's correct. The ZBA is due to the,
STRs.
no, actually, it's not.
Cell-
It's, some of it is
The
STRs, it's the cell tower.
Cell towers,
Well, they're both being litigated in court, so.
Correct.
yeah.
Yes.
Correct, but the STRs is a reimbursable account from the fund. There was,
Some of
what
it
we
is.
put in, no, if it's an STR court case,
Oh,
it
court
all
case.
gets reimbursed. All the lawyer fees for STR related issues,
Okay.
all get reimbursed out of that account. And I think Linda also gave us what
And
those,
by the way, there's another cell tower.
yes, The Vertex Tower,
Yes,
yes,
on the top of Edelweiss.
right.
Idlewild, or, isn't it up off Colby Hill or something?
Nope.
No, further?
Nope.
It's in
Further,
Idlewild?
Tasker Hill,
It is
Or
right,
Tasker Hill,
it
that's
is
right,
right
sorry.
next to the cell tower that's already there.
Oh, I don't know, I haven't been.
I was there.
Okay, I'm not aware, yeah, I haven't been up there, so.
so the next ZBA meeting is the 19th.
Yep.
And during that meeting, the ZBA will take up they had a joint meeting with the planning board
Yes.
so that the organization could present its information. The organization requested the joint meeting, but then, once they presented both organizations, the planning board and the ZBA said, okay, thank you very much.
We put it off for a month.
We're gonna put it on our individual
Yeah.
calendars. So the Vertex ZBA, or Vertex Cell Tower will be on that
But there-
November 19th.
At least there isn't a butters against it like there was over at Purity Springs.
Oh,
I don't
Purity
know
Springs
about that.
site, yeah.
So,
And the property's owned by one person, 95 acres owned by one person.
Wow, okay.
who had, yeah, anyway,
Yes.
I'm not, I'm not really talking about, because I'm on the board, I'm on
Yeah.
that board too.
So, yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah, come to the meeting or
And
tune
when
in.
is that one?
November 19th, there at 6 PM. And this one I'll have to check, this one might be over in
school.
the school. I'll have
That's
to
the
check that.
zoning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
zoning, ZBA.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's at the school.
Me either, since
Could
we
be.
know that there's usually a lot of people that come to that. Going back to the legal expense for the ETF, for the STRs, there's just short of $50,000 still in that account.
Good.
So, we'll see, I don't know how much of the expenses have not been taken out, but it's showing expended in 2025 of $17,000, so we'll see. There was almost $67,000 to start the year with. Okay, anything else look out of whack?
It was the bad that was me.
Kiosk,
Oh, it looks like the budget's on track, you know, we're
Yeah.
just slightly under considering 80%
Yeah.
way through the year.
One of the questions that I had last month,
Was
and
the
I got
salt, right?
was the salt and
Yeah.
sand, because we,
Use
we're
a
gonna
lot
need
at the
it.
beginning of the
Yeah,
year.
and the cost for that went way up. I think if you look in the minutes,
Minutes, it's
Jake
up
is
8% or 10% or something.
67%, I think.
so, that's my concern is, do we have enough set aside, A, in terms of actual salt and sand, and B, in
Didn't
terms of
realize we
funding?
used so much. Did you see we use like 550 tons of salt or something?
Right.
I didn't realize
But-
it takes that much to treat the road.
It depends, I think, it depends on.
On the
how
weather, yeah.
Depends on what the year does,
Yeah,
right?
true.
I think last year we had a lot of freezing events
It was. It
as
was pretty
opposed to
icy.
snow.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think when we get snow, it's a lot easier because you don't have to necessarily salt.
Pushing it all over, you don't have to treat it.
Right, still have to treat the roads before it falls, but you're not treating it the entire time.
And it's a different tree.
And it's a different, right, so anyway, we'll see. Yeah, they're at 124% for sand,
Mhm.
it looks like. Am I reading that right? Maybe that's salt, I'm at an angle.
Yeah, 'cause don't we use our own sand? Is that what I
The
remember?
Yeah, they-
taxpayer, or the, not taxpayer sand, but there's a big
You-
thing of sand up there.
We
We
do
Yeah.
now,
have,
that's new.
Yeah.
They screen it and, yeah,
With
they,
salt.
Yeah, 'cause we
We
got
we
the
don't buy the
screener
sand,
thing,
just the
yeah.
salt, I
We
believe.
got enough sand now for 25 years. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, there's a pile out there.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the salt is at 120, basically 125%, 124.8, so, yeah. And our gravel is over 101%. I have to go back and look at this. This culvert one is now saying only 47%, yet they did all that culvert work on
Mm.
Colby Hill, so I'm almost positive it was more than $2,800 to do that work, so
Is that-
where is that? And that may just be the materials,
Didn't they get some sort of a grant for that?
No, there's
No,
a
it's not
FEMA
Colby Hill.
reimbursement, but I don't think
Not
it's
for
gone
that.
through yet,
I
right?
don't think it's for that,
No, I thought
that was
it
for the road. but I don't know if
Road,
it
not
was
for the culverts, yeah. I know Mike Brooks was applying for a FEMA reimbursement or something, yeah.
Right. And we're at 98% for our road improvements. We only have $1,000 left.
Let's hope we don't get a bad rainstorm.
Right.
I was checking the condition of roads yesterday or not yesterday, this morning as I was coming down the road, coming down Mooney Hill and up near the Dirt Pound Road, that area, to see like what did all day of rain yesterday do to us. Because it didn't get absorbed, that's for sure. There was a lot of runoffs.
Yeah, it was, I
But
saw that.
things look to be pretty okay.
The river went up, I saw.
Yeah, thank goodness. All right, do we have any questions for Linda regarding? No, I do remember her saying last month that there were a lot of claims on the HRA, the medical HRA this year as opposed to previous years, so that it was much higher than anticipated.
You know,
for
when
people with claims.
we went back like 8 or 10 years on that,
Yeah,
but Linda, we did a pretty thorough analysis.
right.
And it was averaging, $4,000-6,000. Of
Right.
course, this year, because we budgeted for 6, it's coming in at 12, I know.
Right.
No, but, traditionally, we've been really good on that. It was just, wow, what happened, right?
Yeah, and I think I do wanna check, under the police, they're showing at 146.6, I'll have to check to see what that was last month. I don't know. And 186 police details, those are reimbursable, that's not, 153% for vehicle maintenance,
Something broke.
yep. Something broke, that wasn't anticipated.
Yeah, I think the patrol car is wearing out.
Yeah.
Didn't have rust issues and everything, the frame was rusting and things on it, so.
The rec department is at 94% of its budget in total. $263%, that's ZBA's legal, 294% in postage, again, ZBA, but that's reimbursable. The applicant pays for that, so
Yeah,
that'll all come back,
it's-
and it's a small number,
It is, but we said the other night, that number should be in here.
yes,
Yeah, we just spent 294% of our budget for postage, but it does totally get reimbursed, and that number is not in there.
right,
It doesn't show that we get reimbursed for it, it should be.
Right.
Yeah, so what is it, the applicant reimbursed the town for the mailings?
for the mailings,
Yes.
they
Okay.
pay for the mailings, but there is so if you look at this estimated revenue report, and you look under the other revenues, the zoning board fees, there's $3,412, but it doesn't
Okay.
specify what that is.
It doesn't match up.
Right, well, so the other reimbursables on this are like legal notices,
Yeah,
those kinds of things that should get reimbursed,
yeah.
which is $13,000.
I wonder if there's a way just to be able to, like, put a star or an indication on the,
Something.
to just alert
That
that
this is a
there's funds
reimbursable-
coming, yeah.
That this
Even
is
if
a
it's not
reimbursable account?
fully reimbursable, even if it's just partial, so that you have some kind
Yeah,
of
and
idea.
I think part of the issue is that this is a
Is it a
report that comes out of
Software,
Quicken.
like, yeah,
Yeah, or QuickBooks, it comes out of QuickBooks, so
There's not a way
trying
to
to put
do
an
that.
asterisk on something
Yeah.
is, yeah. But what we could do is just get a sheet of paper for use for the whole year
No.
that indicates
You could-
what accounts are
You
reimbursable.
could
Yeah,
easily
even if
change the title from postage to postage asterisk, postage reimburse or something like that.
I know that there's hesitation to do that because now that's a different account than postage ZBA, and you can't, when you do the 5-year look back,
It
you're not gonna
doesn't.
get those numbers.
it would just do that one,
Right,
yeah.
so I'm all about changing QuickBooks, but
I think
there
I
are
can do that.
ramifications if you do, so, yeah, like somebody, for some reason, put S in front of zoning board,
Yes, instead
Yeah,
of
it's
fixed.
and it's
just,
never been
fixed.
fixed.
Yeah.
And it should be fixed because it's still at the end of the, SZ comes after street lighting and
Right.
zoning is still the end of the alphabet, so, but one thing at a time, that's minor compared to some of the other things.
Yes.
But maybe we could ask Linda for a list of the reimbursable accounts
Yeah.
that we would, Linda for list of reimbursable accounts. Okay, this detailed drawdown that you have, if you have specific questions about an area, like the water quality testing's at 100%. So this should give you at least what those expenditures were that took it to 100%. For that, it should be easy, it should just be the tests, the water tests. Any, compressor, there isn't a $4,000, there was a $4,000 expense that we were talking about.
What line?
It's not in
Oh,
here,
okay.
it was under
That's
rentals.
interesting.
What's interesting?
They've got a number against Silver Lake Dam repairs. As far as I know, the engineering study hasn't come in yet.
Correct, I think that was an estimate from a year and a half to 2 years ago, that they just threw out there to put in, to be able to put a place
$2
marker in
million.
here. That has not, obviously
Is
has
it
not come in.
2 million for the engineering study?
No, 100,000 for the engineering study,
Study.
2 million
For
to
the
fix
To
the
repairs.
redo it, if not more with inflation these days.
Well,
Cost of labor and materials is way up,
Right, so obviously that has to be,
yeah.
that has to be vetted and double checked. What else?
Probably similar increase like we're seeing with health insurance.
Oof. I'm looking for my, here it is. Okay, the revenue report. That's the single page year to date, looks like it's $881,000. This is where you can see from the field trips, it was $6,592 for a total under the rec department of $34,000. So we should be able to then take this and bounce it against the rec department's field trip line and see, does this pay for the whole thing? Where did that go? Rec department, here we go. Field trips was 6,377.
What page, Sharon?
I'm on page 6, about halfway down, just after the section on the police. So the 6,592 in revenue from field trips more than covers the 6,377 that they spent. That's a good thing. Not by much, which is good, because we don't wanna be gouging parents on,
it is, but this 159% should be a better number than, it should be a negative number rather than they've spent 159.
well, except that when the money comes in, it does not go back to that
It
line.
goes in general
It just
fund,
goes into
right?
the general fund, so
General fund.
this stays this way, and that's when it's important for us to understand that number,
So there are inaccuracies in this.
well, it's
Well,
accounting. It's the way
accounting
accounting
process,
I
is.
understand.
Yeah, it's accounting versus, kind of bookkeeping, like checkbook keeping, right? In checkbook keeping, we would show the deposit of the 34
Yeah,
or the
you
6592, and the expenditure of the 6377, and
But
you
there's,
have that positive.
but in QuickBooks, there should be an account number for this particular item. And when the deposit comes in, it should go against that account number, and then they'll match up.
But that's not how QuickBooks works. It's not how things work.
Okay?
Plus the incoming's going into the general town
Well,
fund
they put it, but
Yeah.
they could still assign it.
to
an
show
account.
where
To
it
show
went,
where
to
it
show
goes,
what it's
yeah.
And
for.
I'm
Yeah.
sure when it
Okay, I
goes
get
into the general account, there's a note that shows you what account it was reimbursable to, but unfortunately, it doesn't recalculate.
Right.
So, I don't know that anyone here
Yeah.
knows how to make it do
I
that.
was gonna say,
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
QuickBooks either, but I can't imagine it, you can't do that.
Well, there are some things that it won't do, so. And I don't know what version of QuickBooks we have, I don't know if it's the deluxe edition or whether it's the basic edition, so.
It's not very quick.
No, it's, moderate.
I'm a slow book expert.
I don't know what pilot
I'm not
is
very
under
quick.
No.
other revenues.
I don't know
Do
anything
we know
about
what
it.
I don't
pilot,
either.
Keep my
anybody?
mouth shut.
I don't either.
Do we know, do you have any idea what pilot is under, when you're looking at other
No,
revenues?
I saw that. Pilot. I'm not sure.
Is that a car?
No, but it's,
Honda Pilot.
Right.
it gotta be some kind of fee or something.
Well, it's
coming
something
in.
that we get.
Yeah.
It's $9,000 that comes into us.
Oh, I wonder if it's like a program or.
A state fund or something, I'm not sure.
And I didn't bring my last month's, cause I usually write on it what it is.
I don't know. That's a question for Linda, is,
Yeah,
if it's an
pilot.
acronym, can we spell it out so we know what it is or something?
Pilot, what is this?
Yeah.
I'll put an asterisk so I remember to send it to her.
What's the pilot now?
Transfer station is at 68,000 in fees and money from aluminum and metal.
You gotta give John Arruda credit. He does a really good job there. I mean, you look at, we all throw our aluminum cans into the big dumpster,
Yeah.
and John's getting $5,000 for that. I
So
mean,
far this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, no,
It
so-
could be like 8,000 or
Same
so
with the
by the end
metal,
of the year.
right? We all throw our junk steel and everything into that big
Yeah.
dumpster, and John's gotten $11,000 out of it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the $57,000 transfer station fees, I'm presuming that's the
The bulk and the
bulk
bags,
and the bags for.
the $5
we can-
bags or
yeah.
whatever, $10 bags, whatever he
Right,
charges.
that's a lot of bags and bulk.
But, you see a lot of the stuff that goes in there, I mean, we're paying to dispose of that.
Yes.
You got guys dumping all kinds of construction stuff there.
Right.
I mean, we're paying, what, $80 a ton or something to haul it up to the landfill.
Vital record.
So at least, hopefully it's breaking even or we're making a little bit of money on it,
How much has he spent so far this year? Transfer station, that's under the DPW still too, right? Executive, parks, patriotic, personnel,
What
total
did,
highways.
what did the town sell?
That's, see, I noticed I have a
Oh,
little
that
arrow
was,
next to
the
it. Sale of
sale of the
municipal
old,
property.
that was the money they got for the old backhoe.
Oh,
I think that was the price.
17.4?
Yeah, remember the old transfer station backhoe?
Backhoe.
They put it on, I don't know, there's some auction sites, like
Yeah, there's
municipal
like
auction or
municipal-
state auction or something. And somebody bought it, and I
Wow.
think they got $17K for it. It was an old worn out machine too. So they did pretty good on that.
too bad they couldn't have done that with the old grader,
Yeah, we still got pretty good money for that. We got
did we?
32.5 or something.
Did we for the old grader?
Oh, yeah, no, we did pretty good on that, considering the condition it was in.
Hazardous waste,
Should be on here
maintenance,
then.
recycling, well testing and capping, so. If you take the contract out of this, and hazardous waste, we spent $2,500. Maintenance, $6,500, recycling, $11,000. And then well testing and capping, $6,400. The total is 110, and John has brought in 68, so that's not bad.
No, we're over 50% of
Right. 50% of the cost of
Recovering.
running it, and the largest cost is the contract, the 83,000.
Is that per ton or something? That
Yeah,
must be
that's the
the
hauling.
disposal
The haul-
fee
yeah.
up to the landfill.
Right. So,
No, John does really well there.
okay, so sale of municipal property, is this the backhoe?
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
You're probably right.
that was earlier this year.
And probably the grader is not in here because they didn't sell it.
They
just-
traded
Traded
it
it
in,
in.
and it came off the
Correct.
purchase price.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
No, that's really good money for that old backhoe. That thing was in pretty rough shape. The town got more than their, money's worth, years out of that thing.
Transfer station backup. Any other questions on this? On the revenue report? What I would like to see is, I mean, this is year-to-date 2025. What does year-to-date from 2024 look like, and how do we compare? Are we ahead in revenue? Are we behind in revenue? Where do we?
Well, was the grader on last year's?
The what?
The grader part of last year's
It wouldn't be
budget?
part of
The
any, yeah,
grader
but it
was a
wouldn't be.
warrant article.
I'm just looking at the
But the-
revenue.
The
Oh,
this is
revenue.
I'm just
Right.
looking at, you know, year-to-date so far, we've brought in through fees and everything else,
So you're not-
881,000.
Not the whole thing, just the revenue.
Just the
Yeah.
Okay.
revenues, just to see, are we bringing in more revenue this year than we did last year, or are we bringing in less, or just about the same, you know, negligible difference?
Mhm.
One thing that stands out is only $56 in marriage licenses. I don't think anyone's
Nobody's
getting
getting
married.
married.
Nobody's getting married.
How much are they a piece?
I don't know.
$56.
Are they
No,
$56 for license? I don't know.
I don't remember, it's been 5 years since my
But, you know,
son got a marriage license.
But we're bringing in, you know, $3,800 on dog licenses, but only $56 on marriage licenses. I don't
People are getting
know.
more dogs than
People have more dogs
spouses.
than spouses, yeah.
Maybe they're just opting to live together instead of.
I don't know.
They don't talk back.
We have more dogs than
Alright,
spouses.
the ETF balance update, we were just looking at that, is there anything that, $73,000 in the assessing expendable trust fund, that was expected, we had added more money to this expendable trust, knowing it was a reassessing year, in order to take care of that. That should be pretty close to done. Like, we should be, let me go back to paying that. Assessing is right here, assessing, nope, that's assessing admin, contract. 13 out of the 21,000. It's saying that there's 7,000 more left in the budget that has to get paid. We're only at 66%. No, why? And tax maps, I don't know if this ETF is for all three of those, that it does the contract, the kiosk, and the tax maps. Let's ask Linda. What does assessing ETF cover? Contract plus kiosk plus tax maps?
Yeah, remember we added the money this year because it was an assessing year to pay for
Correct.
Avatar to
To do the
to
assessment,
drive around and assess and, yeah,
Right.
do their,
do their thing.
do their, you know, street work to
Yeah,
to
and it was,
update the.
it was
assessment.
gonna cost us around $120-something thousand, if I remember correctly, which would have left $20 or so thousand in the ET or EFT. I always call it an ETF, but it is an ETF. Why is expendable assessing, does that
Yeah.
need to be fixed?
It needs, yeah, it's a
EFT,
typo,
EFT,
yeah.
EFT. It is, yeah, ETF, 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 ETF. Okay, cause I keep calling it an EFT, but that's the financial world thing. Transfer station project ETF, there was $83,000 in there. Nothing was added. We've expended $7,000, so not much has been expended from
No,
that.
they added the concrete pad there.
Yeah, they
You know, they fixed
repaved.
up where the metal dumpster is, yeah.
Yeah, they did a little repaving.
Yeah, John said they are gonna have to repave that parking lot up there, you know, or the whole
The whole thing.
transfer
the big-
station eventually.
Yeah,
It's getting pretty bad.
and I'm just wondering if that can be broken down into pieces, so that it's over 3 years kind of thing to get it done, but. And then the STR legal expense, $17,245, I know that those are STRs. The question I had was, when you look at this, when we go back to the ZBA, legal. Huh. this says we only spent, expended in 2025, 17,000. This says we've only spent 13,000. But it may be some of this other, I don't know, the 17,245. What's in that 17,245?
Is the billing up to date, the attorney's fees, or do they bill quarterly or something that would move to the next, year, I don't know.
But it should be reflected in here.
Yeah.
If you've spent it out of here, it needs
should
to
be.
be in the drawdown.
Mhm.
I'll ask Linda. ZBA ETF says 17,245 versus drawdown of 13,168. And when she'll email me the answers, I'll email them out to everybody so that you're aware. Okay, budget guidance development. This is where we still don't have numbers, we don't have concrete numbers, we have been somewhat generic previously with regard to what we're looking for. I'd like to publicly applaud the school board, because if this holds, they're looking at a 3%, 3.93, almost a 4% decrease. Am I reading this correctly?
Well, and you got updated
The-
stuff from Heather
Yes.
that
This
took
one?
those employees that were twice
I
listed.
presume, because
I
if I look at,
didn't get that yet,
oh, you
so.
haven't? It should have
I-
been in your package, right, in the package from Linda, because that's where all this came from.
Oh, I haven't looked at that, like I just got it while we were here, right?
No, you would have gotten it a day or so ago, I
Email.
think.
Oh, in the email?
In the
Yeah, no, I
It's a
didn't,
text.
I looked at,
This not okay version, as Nan calls it,
I know.
shows a
is it,
negative 2.31%, and then the okay version shows
Right.
minus 3.93.
is it this one? Does it look like this?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
look
at-
the
yeah.
highlight of the, yeah.
She's
Like
got
that?
it highlighted
Yeah, I
in
haven't-
wages teachers.
I haven't
She
looked at
highlighted
this
that.
one yet, so
But,
I'm assuming from this updated one, if that's the 3 to 4%, then
Yeah, it's
that's,
3.93, which is almost 4%.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it
That
makes
that-
sense to me, and I feel like it could possibly even go down.
lower.
Oh, I-
even with the
further.
100K
I think it should.
payout and the health insurance going up 14-15%.
Well, the 100K, remember, is coming out of the 163.
they took it
That's
out of
right,
the
that's
fund
right, okay.
balance.
So they are just
Right.
funding as though it's the same, I think she's
Mhm.
funding it as the orange plan from school care and what it
Right.
says in the CBA.
It's all 16%.
So if we
increase
do something
in-
different with healthcare, that could possibly go down, also with transportation,
Right.
That
that could go
That could
down.
bring it down even more. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so
Cool.
I'm feeling like that's really good.
And then when they look at staffing, when you have that many decrease, they're gonna have to rethink all their staffing, I would think. If they, example, went straight grades,
Mhm.
I
Well,
think
yeah, I mean, there's all those
there's
possibilities
a
that
lot
are
of
still on the
stuff to.
horizon.
Yeah,
So, I mean, when I look at the 3.93, I said, well, that's good, but
yes.
there's 2 positions already this year in the current budget, so they're gonna have money left over from that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, that's what
So-
they were saying, that 700 and whatever is from last year, so.
Right, so, I'm just saying, positions should go down and
Well, it is going down by
Enrollment.
1.
is going down,
going
so
down by
I mean,
1.
there's just a lot of,
Well, yeah, but you still have to account for the fact that just because enrollment goes down, there's still a ratio that has to be kept for students. And are they in the correct grades and that
Right,
kind of
that's what I
thing, so
think
Right.
has to,
that's,
right, that's
that's what
their-
I think Dr. Whalen
Right.
and the principal
Yeah.
and they're
Right.
looking at those
Right.
particular things for a better proposal for next month, so.
Right, I think you'll see it even
I
But
think,
more different.
tell them I said thank you very much for sharpening the pencil and looking at this, and to continue to do that. If there's anywhere that we can help with looking at some of this and saying we have, I mean, sometimes it's hard without having more information, but I don't wanna tell the school board how to suck an egg, as we used to say. But, you know, I'm happy to sit down and talk with them, and I'm sure Joe would as well, and any one of us would, to sit down and say, well, you know, where do you think there's wiggle room? And what is, say, you know, food and milk, what is that number based on? Could that go down if we don't have the number of students? Is there savings in that area? I'm just picking it because it's right in front of me, and it's a larger number than all the rest of them on the page.
Well, and see, I struggle with my role on this body, because there are times when I wanna speak as a budget committee member and not as a school board rep.
Yep, yep.
Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely, you can say, have my ABC hat on,
I have my
school
ABC
board
hat on right now because I'm pretty sure I came before your body last budget season for the school board, and I also stood up at deliberative and asked for some cuts to be made
Yes,
to staffing,
yes,
and here we are, without that staffing that without more staffing that I actually proposed to have cut, and we are operating a school with those numbers of staff.
That was suggested,
That
that
was
you-
suggested, that
right.
was told, that could not, that
just couldn't do it.
wasn't, and we're
Right.
still within our policy of kids
numbers
per.
of kids, number of kids per teacher.
Yep, and it is doable, so
Okay.
I just would like the board here, as a budget committee member, I want the board to hear that there were some people in town asking for further cuts, and there was pushback that was asking too much, and yet here we are, operating in that, in less than what was being proposed. So I do think that this body has a lot more sway, and,
We should use it.
yep,
All right, so let's talk
I'm
about that
just-
for a little bit. I mean, again, we don't necessarily have the numbers right now in front of us to make any of those decisions, but I think it is important then to convey to them that we are looking at, based on the discussions at town hall and budget meetings, school board budget meetings, with personnel cuts, we are looking to see what is the school board doing with regard to number of positions. We understand there's one position cut in here. It's a position you didn't fill anyway.
Right.
And you probably have another one that you're not gonna fill. So there will be additional savings, but is there a move that if you get through six months of next school year that you're gonna permanently cut that position? What's the forecast for positions based on the number of students currently? And if we were to suggest that you cut a second position, how might you, well, if you cut a second position, you're in no different position than you are today,
right.
because you're
Correct.
operating without two
And you're gonna be down 21
students.
if the numbers stay the way they are.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How
So
many
like,
students, Deb?
there's 102?
Wow.
Currently,
K through 6.
K through 6 is
K through 6.
102?
in the school,
102.
in the facility.
And then
And you
there
have
are
27, it was 28, but I think it's 27 sixth graders that will go out,
Right.
and 7 preschoolers
Yeah.
that are now in the preschool in the
That will
building.
move up.
Yeah.
21.
And they're under the SAU budget, that's why I don't include them in the K through 6, because that preschool is shared and it's an
Right.
SAU budget item.
How many are in the preschool?
7 from Madison.
From Madison, but there's 19,
19 or 20?
20,
Yeah, remember they were planning like on having 20
I have it
when
here
they
somewhere.
first set it up.
um,
No, I'm just curious how many.
But not
So
20
I-
goes
you know,
up
I-
to-
I
So
would
20,
just-
so this'll decrease to 92, if it holds, because
Right,
there's
if
27
27
moving
go
out,
out,
going up to
and
seventh
only
grade,
s-
and only 7 will
7
move
moving
in.
up.
So that gives you, and there's always a kid that moves into town halfway.
Kids
yeah,
moving
there
in,
might not,
yeah.
everybody might not be
Somebody
going to
might
the
be at the
preschool.
Woodland Charter
Yeah.
School or
Right.
whatever, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
homeschools come back, so
Yeah.
I get that it might, but it's,
I
know.
would just hope-
It's
it'd be
sad.
82.
Yeah.
It would be 82, not 92, it'd be 82 students.
Mhm.
I remember we were 120,
They,
and I
they
think-
need to do analysis.
The
Yeah,
highest
and
that
I'm
ever went
hoping
when I was
that's
employed, there was
happening at the
243.
administration level, and that there, I just felt like last year as a
Correct.
citizen,
And, I mean, I did
So
students.
we're under half of.
there was not
Yeah.
as much explanation, there was
Right.
just, no, we
Well, if
can't
you
do
look at the
this, no, I mean,
demographics in Madison,
I was told I
it's an aging
misspoke
population,
at the
no young
deliberative
people
when I
staying.
didn't
And
misspeak.
you need housing to move in.
So it's those kind of
People
things
can't
about,
afford
I
to
think
stay.
there needs to be very specific
Guidance
things presented that we've looked at this, we've looked at this, and we've looked at this, and this is the best, and a good explanation as to why.
All right, so I would think, let me, because I don't want to just speak for the board and say this is what I think they should do. I want concurrence from all of you.
Mhm.
Deb may opt not to because of your dual position, but I think that I would be looking for, given those numbers, that you have 27 moving out and only 7 moving up, and we'll go then from 102 to 82 students. We are at 102 students and down 2 positions. How many teachers then what is that? We have
There's 6 classroom teachers.
6 classroom teachers and we only have 4? We're operating on 4 because the 2 positions are
there-
empty?
There were supposed to be 7. Well, 8 this year, so we're down to 6.
Okay, so there were 8 positions total.
Yeah, 2
2 unfilled.
K12s, 2 3-4s, and 2 5-6s.
Right.
Okay, 2 unfilled for 102 students, so that gives you 6 teachers. If you
18 per teacher, students per teacher, what's your ratio there again?
Yeah, and I think you can go up to 21, can't you? I think it's,
It's different for K1,
You are
2,
true.
3, 4, and 5, 6. You can go up to 25 and 5, 6?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's 22
I don't
in
have it
3,
in front
4,
of me, I
and
have it at
18
home,
in
but-
K1, 2.
do you have that information? Have they presented that information? We expect that there'll be 48 in 5-6, there'll be, 48.
We have the principal's report that has the enrollment in it, but we haven't.
No, I'm talking about projections, like,
No. I
yes,
think,
all these 6th graders move out, how many 5th graders move
I
up to
think
6th
that was
grade?
part of the plan, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, that administration is working on for next time.
For the next
For,
round of budget,
Yeah.
right?
for
Yeah.
November meeting, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we would be, as a group,
Mhm.
very interested in seeing all of those numbers and that analysis.
And also remember,
Yes.
you have the 7 paraprofessionals. I mean, and I'm just, and you have a lot of full-time positions. There are part-time allied arts positions, art, music, and PE, but then you have a full-time librarian, you have a full-time guidance nurse, full-time speech, which is, I know part of special ed, but and then special ed numbers will come down if you don't have,
Maybe,
maybe.
I think that's
Part of the analysis,
right, that's
right?
a part of the analysis, trying to understand what may be coming out of pre-K and what may be
Right.
coming from other school districts that are feeding into it, or are there students that we think might be moving back into town or into
Yeah.
town? They can't ever tell with special ed, so I'm hesitant
No.
to mess necessarily with the special ed budget, because all it takes is one student to be an out of
I
district
agree.
placement, and
Yep.
you didn't plan for it, your special ed budget
Oh, yeah.
goes haywire.
But also on that note, Dr. Whalen has made a point, especially at our SAU meetings, that he's looking to streamline things through the SAU so that if there's some cost sharing that can happen.
Right.
And so if you do, let's say, have a full-time speech person in Madison, but they could service some students in Freedom or Tamworth or vice
Mhm.
versa,
Right.
would that save money in general for everybody if there was some sharing that way? So
That makes sense
I
to
would
do
It
something like
does.
that.
think
He's
that-
That makes
pushing
sense.
for
that
that.
he's always looking to
he's
do
always-
those things, so I would
Yeah.
figure
Well, he
that
has to.
there
He's
was,
got a diminishing
You gotta-
population
gotta share
and
resources too.
rising costs, and he's got to find creative solutions for how to manage that and and still provide a quality education to our students. But,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so Deb, you can take back to them that one of the things that we'll be looking for is that analysis based on, you know, how many students are in each grade, what's the projection for the next couple of years? What are those ratios, those required ratios, and how they're gonna meet those ratios, but also potentially cut more positions than just that one. If it's warranted. If it's not warranted, I mean, it seems to me if you haven't filled that whole position by now,
In a year. Yeah.
in a whole year, and it's not a year, I think it's longer than a year, because I think the year before it was still,
Was
Well, it
it
was-
vacant then too?
Special ed, there was a special ed position vacant.
All
So
of
they
la-
filled the special ed position, so
Okay.
those are all filled. But that took a teacher from
out of regular,
general ed to
and they lateraled over to, or moved from regular
Actually-
to special ed.
two did.
Yeah.
Two did, okay.
Yeah.
And they've not been able to refill those two.
Right.
Okay. All right, but yeah, guidance is great job on starting to reduce the budget.
Yep,
Thank you very
I got
much.
the thank you in there.
Yep,
In
and
my
then,
notes.
oh, by the way.
Oh, by the
Oh,
way.
by the way.
Can you take a look at
We're
this?
all looking for more. Anything else?
No, get 8:00.
I know, yeah, I know, right, so.
Doug and I
I
are
think it's-
past our,
Your bedtime?
Just
Yeah.
getting there,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
getting
know.
to my bag too.
I think that's here it is. Okay, so that's the guidance.
Yeah.
Is there any further business? Is there anything anybody didn't bring up that they wanna bring up now? No?
I don't think it's really budget related, so yeah, no.
Okay. So then there being no further business before the ABC, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
I
The next meeting is November 4th,
4th.
2025 at 6 PM here. Thank you.
Alrighty.
And that'll be the day after the school board meeting, right, Deb?
Yep. So I might not be.
Yep.
as-
You might not have all
Snuff?
that.
Hey, Deb.
Well, that's why I think it's important for us to go.